We're going to get started tonight. We're our first of 5 inductees this evening, and the first one is an athlete who's unlike any other, and he's come into the Major League Baseball, and he may leave being one of the best players ever to play the game. Mike Trout into our Hall of Fame, and tonight we have videos, as Doug mentioned, for each of our inductees. So let's watch Mike Trout. Here with Jack Rader, former general manager of the Cedar Rapids Colonels, and we're here to talk about one of the most exciting players in the entire history of Cedar Rapids baseball. Mike Trout played for the Colonels in 2009 and 2010, and Jack, he was just so fun to watch. What are some of your memories of watching him on the field?
Well, I have quite a few, actually. Like you said, he's one of those sort of once-in-a-lifetime players that you get a chance to be associated with. I'll always remember the first night he came to town. I always remember kind of looking at Trout going, this guy looks like a young Mickey Mantle. So finally I said to Mike, Mike, how old are you? And he said, well, I turned 18 yesterday. So I said to him, you played the whole season in rookie league and hit 360 or whatever? And he says, yeah, I guess I did. And you know what struck me was his mannerisms. A little bit shy and just the real tie to Mantle. So we're that person who was with Mickey Mantle in 1950 in Joplin or wherever he was and started in the minor leagues. So that was that was my first experience with Trout.
First round pick out of Millville, New Jersey, and I know a lot of people from New Jersey made the trip to Cedar Rapids that summer.
Interest kept growing. Fortunately, I was able to go to spring training that year with Wally Krause, and we kind of reported back to Cedar Rapids that, hey, we got a dream team coming into town. We've got a lot of good players, obviously headed up by Trout. And everybody, I think, now said that they saw Trout play when he was here. Whether that's true or not, I don't know, but you know how that grows over time.
Played 81 games in 2010, 362 batting average, 6 home runs, 39 RBIs, 19 doubles, 7 triples, 45 for 54 in stolen base opportunities. And after that season, he was named the 2010 batting champion. He was an all-star, player of the year, prospect of the year, minor league player of the year. And in the following year, he was named the top prospect in all of minor league baseball. He went from here and made a quick trip up to the major leagues. Did you anticipate it happening that quickly? Because it was the following year and he was in Anaheim.
Yeah, I don't know if I would have guessed that quick, but his talent was just so unbelievable. I remember seeing him play one of the first times, and he hit a ground ball to shortstop, just a routine ground ball, and he beat it out. I always remember Bill Stoneman. He said, I have never in all my years in baseball seen anybody that can run from home plate to first base as fast as Trout. But he did say, he said, I do have to tell you that I didn't get to the big leagues till 1964. He said, so I didn't see Mantle before the knees went. And he said, but other than that, since 1964, he says, I don't think I've seen anybody that can get from home to first as fast as Trout.
We've been talking a little about the on-the-field accomplishments, but off the field, he was involved in the reading program, even did some Colonels karaoke things that we played on the video board, but hospital visits, it's probably safe to say he might be a better guy off the field than he is a player on the field.
Yeah, he was a terrific guy, and I think part of that is he had great parents. I remember one time his parents were in town, and his mother, Debbie, it was Pat McGrath used car night, and she actually won one of the used cars at the game that night. And she came up to me and said, what did I win? I said, well, you won a used car. And she said, well, why don't you just give it to one of the players? So we did, but yeah, he's got a great family. He's a great kid. But I know Mike did a lot of visits down to the University of Iowa to the cancer department for kids. So he was good in the community. But I remember on July 4th, 2010, we got hit with a terrific rainstorm. So we took off to try and get the tarp on. Well, it was raining so hard, we couldn't get the tarp all the way up to cover the first base foul line and home plate. And we were pulling. I looked to my right, and there's Trout. Trout is actually out on the field helping us trying to pull the tarp. And I thought, boy, if Tony Regan finds out about this, we're in trouble. But that's the kind of kid he was. And then the next day was just as miserable. because we spent the entire day trying to get that small area, the first base line, first base, and home plate dry. Well, it kept raining, so we'd have to take the tarp off just a little bit, put it back on. Well, I remember about 4 o'clock, Trout came out on the field, and I was over by first base raking, and it was still not in very good shape. And he said, "Well, boss, what do you think? We going to play tonight?" And I said, "Well, what do you think?" So he takes the lead off first base like he's going to steal second, and he takes off and he falls flat on his face. And he gets up, and he's kind of full of mud, and he looks at me and says, "I'd say it's ready to go." But that's the kind of kid he was. I mean, he came to the ballpark to play, and you can see that in the major leagues that he gives it 110% every time out.
Went from being a high prospect to the next year in Anaheim really becoming one of the best players in all of baseball, and was a Rookie of the Year, now twice in a row. He is second in the most valuable player voting. He's going to get one soon enough, and probably more, but the best is yet to come for him. He's going to be a guy we look back 30, 40 years from now and say, wow, that was pretty neat to have him in Cedar Rapids.
You know, one other thing about him is that I mean, you could look right now, and he's got a page full of stuff that he's accomplished in the big leagues that either he's only done it himself or he's with rare company. Trout still, I mean, he's 2 years is a good basis and a good nucleus, but he's going to have to work hard and keep in shape, and I'm sure he will with, you know, with his roots grounded as they are. I think he's going to have a terrific career, and like you said, maybe 10, 15 years from now, we're talking about him as one of the greatest players to ever play the game.
Tonight we're honored to induct Mike Trout into our Cedar Rapids Baseball Hall of Fame. Mike wanted to make it here tonight, but he does send that great message to us tonight. He loved his time in Cedar Rapids, I know that, and Jack, thanks for sharing those stories. And here's two guys that knew him a whole heck of a lot better than I did, and the reason they're up here, Gary Keppel, president of the ball club, also want to bring Wally Krause up here too. He's the chairman of the Hall of Fame committee, and that's why we're here tonight. And Wally is going to accept the award for Mike Trout tonight. Wally?
Mike was very sorry that he couldn't be here tonight. He had a conflict that made it impossible for him to make it, but it is a great honor for me to even be able to accept this for Mike. He, I know we'll get back to Cedar Rapids someday, and wants to do that because he has a lot of friends here, and we're so proud of him, and it's, like I say, an honor for me to accept this for him. And we will see that he gets it very soon. Thank you very much.